Okay, back again with Unit 5. Sorry, I've got my script slightly off. Unit 5, Lecture 6. So what we've done up to now is dealt with socialization. Socialization is basically brainwashing to get this person to step into the machine knowing that the machine is not fantastic at producing outcomes. So that we keep thoughts and behaviors going that are going to allow us to survive as efficiently and securely as possible. That's the point of socialization. Social control. Keep the person stepping in. But the reality is, all this brainwashing stuff is not foolproof. And we can see this because we have prisons that are full of people. We have people committing criminal acts right now. We have basically people going against what society tells you you're supposed to do. This can happen for a number of reasons. First of all, the collective consciousness is contradictory. We talked about that. We've got individualism, we've got equality, we've got pursue material success. And these things don't necessarily go together perfectly. A person could be like, yeah, I see the idea of equality and I see the idea of individual success, and really I think the way for me to do that is by selling drugs or something like that. It's possible for a person to use some of these but not everything in culture and create their own ideas and behaviors. That's possible. It's also true that our collective consciousness is constantly changing because of globalization. New ideas come into a society and they don't necessarily work super well with the existing ideas that are there. And that can lead this person to say, yeah, you know what, I think those ideas make more sense to me. I'm going to go in a different direction. And parents or schools can just do a lousy job of socializing people too. For whatever reason, this idea of this socialization process is not inevitably successful. And when it fails, we have a term for that. And the term for a person whose thoughts and behaviors are not socially approved of, that term is deviance. Deviance. And what deviance means is, deviance is defined as basically choosing to act in ways that violate a society's norms. If you are violating the expected behaviors of a society, you are acting deviantly. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean badly. When America was a by-law white supremacist country and we had slavery in existence, there were abolitionists who were deviant. They were acting against society's norms, trying to free slaves. That is something that nowadays we would consider to be a positive thing. So deviance doesn't mean bad. It means acting in ways that violate a society's norms. Now, sociologically speaking, there are a couple of ways that this can get produced, because this is going to be produced through interaction, just like socialization. And what you can see here is I've added a sort of third layer to this whole, to our normal machine. And I put it in red, and I think I'm going to, hopefully this blue will show up. I want to write in a different color to make it clear that this is not part of the machine. This is something else that's going on. A person could, when you're talking about this cultural side, what you're talking about is the goals, at least in the collective consciousness, the goals about what you're supposed to be doing in life that could be, that a person is supposed to internalize. But it's possible that you could internalize alternative goals. And so what we're going to put in this cell right here is alternative goals. So a person might reject society's goals for like material success, let's say that. And instead they say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to instead just live a life of poverty. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing to do. A person who decides they want to do that there is an entire sort of a subculture within America of people who live in cities and go dumpster diving electively. They decide that they want to do that because, and this is not to say, just so that we're clear, I'm not saying every person who ends up homeless wants to be homeless. In fact, some of these people are not homeless, but what they've decided to do is, I'm not going to pursue material wealth. I'm going to just get by. Now, that's not normal for us. That doesn't conform to the norms of society. It's an alternative goal that would lead a person from here through here to deviance. On the social structure side of things, this is where we get the sort of socially approved means for achieving goals. And it's possible that a person could, instead of going through the social institutions' approved means of achieving goals, they could find alternative means for achieving goals. It's even possible that you could get this by going through here. A person who ends up as a drug dealer has embraced a lot of American culture. They are entrepreneurs who are trying to get wealthy. But when they get here, instead of going right through the society, they come down here into alternative means, which again leads them to deviance. And I think that might be it for an introduction to deviance. In the next video, I'm going to break down a sort of typology of deviance. Basically, four categories of deviance plus conformity. But for right now, this is what I want you to get the idea of. Deviance is defined as acting against the norms of society, not conforming to the norms of society. You could get there in a couple of different ways. You could say, forget it, I'm going to have a different goal for society, a different goal than what society tells me, and that lead me to deviance. It could be that I get through the culture and then I go through to an alternative means to get to deviance. In both cases, and I've used the idea of drug dealing, I want to make it clear that deviance doesn't necessarily mean bad. It just means against society's expectations. Okay, next time we will have a different table up here that will break out a list of a typology of 4 different types of deviance, and we will see from that how deviance could potentially lead to changing this machine, the idea of social change. So I'll see you in that video.